And we are back with the Maddie and Patty Cavs podcast, part 2, if you will, of episode 7. We got caught off there due to some Comcast bullshittery.
Crappy Comcast.
It's bullshit, Maddie.
Fuck them.
You know, I cut off Time Warner, even though they were actually cable high-speed internet, just because it would do this shit where it would just fail randomly throughout the day. Once a day, it would just cut off, middle of the day, just cut off. You couldn't do anything about it. I literally opted for slower service through Verizon, my now current employer, full disclosure, since they bought AOL. I opted for slower service because DSL is not available in my area. I still opted for Verizon, DSL, sorry. Fios is not available in my area, so I opted for DSL, Verizon, slower service, just to get away from Time Warner bullshit.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on my end, so I'm happy about that. Good. Go you, Verizon, my employer. All right, so we left off. I was just saying I was wrapping up Delhi's performance in the first 3 quarters of Game 3 of the NBA Finals, which sees the Cavs up 2-1. And I said it's come to the point where, given the fact that Delhi went to the hospital with
exhaustion, cramping.
Dehydration, cramping, get IV fluids. It's come to the point where, honestly, just like I said before, Kyrie Irving was the key to the series. Now, with him out, it's Delhi. Because Delhi, the whole point was defense, not the offense. It's the defense.
Yeah, although we needed his offense last night, too.
We completely did. We completely did. And frankly, and I'll get to some of that later when we talk in home stretch. I have a point to make about that, but I don't want to make it now. Delhi has become the key to the series because of his defense that he provides on Steph Curry is the most important thing. In the same way that Memphis won those 2 games because of the defense they put on Curry. But the thing is, how insane is it, Matt, that I actually made a true statement when I said that the key to this NBA Finals might be the health of Matthew Dellavedova.
So insane.
Just your thoughts on Delhi and what he did to Curry.
That was a man's performance last night, man.
A man's man.
Seriously, all out, all game long. These are the things everybody says about Delhi, right? But they bear repeating over and over again. Hustling on everything, on the ground immediately. For all those balls, the reminder that it's not dirty to jump on the ground for a loose ball for everybody that's forgotten that somehow. And
Mike Miller learned that. Mike Miller learned that last night.
For sure he did.
Play. Every day I'm gonna hustle like Delhi.
It's a testament to him that he is playing through his limitations too. Right? Because those have come out many times. He's throwing some ugly lobs to nobody. He had the pretty one that I think you'll talk about a little later, but it's doing that. His ball handling is still exceedingly suspect, but just willing himself to matter in this series. Jesus, man. I mean, somebody said last night that the cheers for Delhi were louder than the cheers for LeBron in that game. You get why. How could a team not love him?
And to me, that gets to I think a perfect thing about Cleveland fandom, particularly. I don't know if this there's an interesting thing about Cleveland fandom in the sense that half of Cleveland fans don't live in Cleveland, and that was pointed out a lot when LeBron left. Hey, you guys all left Cleveland. Why can't LeBron leave Cleveland? And absolutely right. LeBron had every right to leave Cleveland, and I always felt that it was the way he left that upset me at the time, and we're all good now. I love him again. We made up, and like it's personal. But when I live in Brooklyn, I live in New York. I see a lot of like LeBron jerseys, and I see a lot of this or that jersey. And certainly when LeBron left, I saw a lot of Kyrie jerseys, and I thought to myself, that doesn't show that you're a real Cavs fan. It shows that you're a Kyrie Irving fan or a LeBron fan, because there are a lot of fans out there that just like certain players. I always try to identify with that great iconic guy that only Cleveland fans would love. It's that sign, it's that sign that you're a real, true Cleveland fan. And so, I've gone through my Gauskas jerseys, my Varejao jerseys. I dabbled in and I'm currently rocking a Deion Waiters jersey.
God bless you.
Hey, it's 3 jerseys in 1, my friend. 3 jerseys in 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mozgov, Shump, and Smith. And I think that's the same thing going on with Delly right now. Is that like this is that guy? Like we all know what LeBron does. We know that we can't do anything without him. That's what's so amazing about him. But what's amazing about him is that he creates the platform for someone like Delly, someone that everyone can relate to. Everyone who doesn't have, the best athleticism, that's been counted out. It's like that great underdog story. You love a guy like that. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything new that you haven't seen.
Yes,
about him right now, but it is worth remarking upon because it is truly remarkable, and that just the fact that we are here and his
talking about this,
that we're talking about him and the role he's playing in the series, that he outplayed Steph Curry for 3 quarters is truly mind-blowing.
Unbelievable. And I mean, our buddy Grant Keating, who I don't think we've name dropped yet. And by the way, Grant, a shout out to you because 2 of the songs I think I've played, no, maybe only 1, but no, 2 of the songs I played in this podcast are all because of you. We heard about So Right from J.R. Smith through you, Grant Keating, and also the opening song for the podcast, Come On Cavs, which is just a glorious piece of music. So shout out to Grant Keating. But Grant was saying, who among us was not calling for him to be gotten rid of mid-season, and not to toot my own horn.
I don't know about gotten rid of, but we certainly were looking for a backup point guard.
A backup, put him on the bench, just stash him away. Don't give him any meaningful minutes. Is what I mean.
Right.
What are we gonna trade him? No one's gonna trade for Delly, and now they might, but they weren't going to then. But for me, I joked in our texting exchange that, maybe I'm, a soft racist, that I'm a sucker for, the slow, unathletic white guy that hustles and works for everything he gets because, well, I'm not slow. I'm a pretty fast guy, but I'm also white and not terribly talented. So, there's
no, and also slow.
And I'm not slow. You call me slow?
Yeah.
I'm the fastest member of all my friends. I will beat any one of our friends in a foot race.
You're the tallest midget. Congratulations, my friend. You are slow.
Well, hey, you got to start somewhere. Anyway, point being that I always liked him because I thought to myself, you know what? He can play a role. He hits threes, not at a great clip, although actually he hit 40% for the season. So that was amazing. He can hit threes. He can sort of bring the ball up the court, and he hustles in a way that was I was like, this looks like a playoff guy. This is a guy that I could see if we just, go through the growing pains of the regular season, he would have a role, a moment. But I was imagining a 10 to 15-minute role where he had one key play that contributed. I did not imagine 40 minutes shutting down the MVP of the 2015 season. What the fuck is happening with him? All right, I'm spending too much time on Delly. There's plenty more to say. The last thing I'll say about Delly, by the way, Matt, is that I just learned that Matthew Dellavedova's hometown gym is going to rename itself the Dellavedova Dome.
Oh.
The Delly Dome, which, of course, I'm sure they're going to be turning, or at least nicknaming it.
Do you see that St. Mary's is retiring his number or retired his number already?
Already did, instantly, apparently. They were just he's the best we've ever had, which I had no idea.
Yeah, they love him out here. That's right. That's 25 minutes from Oracle Arena, that college.
That's crazy. Yeah, I did read about that.
So close. There's a lot of fans of his. When I've gone to games previously here, there's St. Mary's fans that are out cheering for him.
The funny thing is, a shout out to the Fear the Sword bloggers. I still remember 2 summers ago reading Fear the Sword blog posts about Summer League and how terrible Delly was. But somebody saying but I want him to do well. I really want him to make the team. Just because there's something about it kind of stuff, but he's, but joking about how terrible he is actually at the game of basketball. Anyway, Delly, props to you. You give hopes to unathletic overachievers everywhere. I think the other big story of the first 3 quarters of that game were the hard illegal screens that Golden State clearly made a point of setting. It was clearly a coached point. It was clearly a point of emphasis, I think, in their preparation for that game. And it led to the injury to Shump. Not that – I don't know. You may disagree. I think you disagreed. I mean, you thought it was a dirty screen, right? The screen that injured Shumpert.
It wasn't outrageously bad, but he definitely leaned into him and moved his feet. Mm-hmm. And actually, just this harkens back to Delly a little bit. I wanted to make this point. He set one that I thought was much more egregious earlier in the game, where he caught Delly coming up the court.
Oh, high,
and
real high.
Put a shoulder into him like you would see a football player do on a gunner on a punt play.
Yeah.
And Delly knocked him down afterwards. And if you saw Grantland guys, Kirk Goldsberry, I think, comment on this, and I saw it a lot on Twitter last night. Everybody was like, there's Delly going for a knee again, being dirty.
I got it too, some people.
I am furious about this. One, nobody called out Green for what he did.
Yeah.
Also, if you really go, which was outrageous, if you really go and look at the replay, Delly does do. It's a little dirty for sure. He does something
totally dirty.
He puts a shoulder into his hip and mid thigh area. It's not his knee at all. Mm-hmm. Knocks him down, or Green just falls down to try to draw the contact. Green then tries to trip Delly, grabs his foot with his hand, and immediately he's fine. Immediately pops up and calls for the ball out at the top of the 3-point line. Delly is not dirty. That diving around is not dirty. I am getting real upset with people saying that it is. I heard Shane Battier on Zach Lowe's podcast be like, well, he's not dirty, but those are dirty plays, like that nonsense parsing of it. So it is my mission, Pat, moving forward, to point this out anytime players dive and nobody calls them dirty amongst these people that are insinuating that line. I will never let that one go.
Oh, there were some amazing tweets sent out by the Fear the Sword podcast towards the end of the podcast. Sorry, Twitter, Fear the Sword Twitter, towards the end of the Hawks series, of just photo after photo after photo of all the Hawks players calling Delly dirty for diving at players' knees, diving for a ball near someone's legs. Like, look, not dirty. Look, not dirty. Not dirty. Or whatever, dirty, whatever. I mean. That drove me crazy. I got into it a little bit with. I got into it a little bit with a few Atlanta Twitter Hawks Twitter guys. I still follow them from the previous series because some of the guys that I started following that Fear the Sword recommended are actually good follows and good fun guys. But I point out like, so we're just gonna point out the Delly dive at the knees and just not talk about the shoulder shiv. That Dre Green, the totally, completely, unambiguously dirty shoulder shiv he threw into Delly. We're not going to talk about that at all? All right, that's cool.
Right. It was super weird, too, because if you look at the replay, a ref is looking right at the entire sequence and just lets it go.
Yeah. And let's talk about that for a second, Matt. Let's call what the ref to the illegal screens in this series, but particularly this game. You and I obviously are on a mission to, as I've said to somebody else, I even talked somebody down on Twitter about like the illegal screens, saying, look, this is the way they call it. I think it's bullshit, but they are calling it this way. But why are they calling it this way? I'm watching them do this. They're letting them lean into it, but also like you were pointing out the ass sticking out.
Yes,
how do you call that?
So much of that.
It's the tripping. It's really freaking dangerous because it gets like a guy's legs. It's tripping. It's the same kind of dangerous stuff that apparently everyone's crucifying Delly for. They're doing it, except we don't call it because I don't know. We just don't. We don't get upset over it for some reason because it's not Delly.
It's maddening to me. It was bad in what Noah was doing in the Bulls series was the most egregious until now, but
yeah.
I get it from the Warriors' perspective. If the refs aren't calling it, do it. That's an advantage, but it is driving me up a wall.
Awful.
And constant throughout the game.
Just throughout it. And I just don't know what to do about it because they change, teams every night, so you don't know what the series flow is going to be. I almost want there to – here's another question.
To be one crew that calls the whole series?
I would just have one crew. That way they can self-correct.
I was thinking about that. I haven't read anything about that, and there must be some reason, if it's too tiring for the refs, they want guys fresh. It's a union thing where guys need to be able to get those gigs. I don't know what the reasoning behind it is. There must be something, but it is. I had the same feeling. Like, let's have guys that call a consistent game throughout.
Or at least like 2 different crews, maybe, so there's some consistency. So teams know, all right, these guys call it this way, these guys call it that way, and just adjust, fine. But like different crews every single game,
it feels like a grab bag.
Yeah, you got to have the best crews, period. Crews that worked. I like the idea of having the same crews that work together all year as opposed to like the top, lead referees, like an all-star team. That's not a good thing. Matt, this is a research project that I don't think. Well, I don't know if we'll have time to get into it. I'd love to. I've sort of been annoyed at my job for being busy. It's like
I know it's really jamming everything up.
The nerve of my job, the demand professionalism out of me, and I have to provide. It's frustrating that I can't spend some more time and free time for researching this stuff. But I really want to research this because it just doesn't seem right to me. I'm curious as to how NBA teams can how the NBA actually referees these NBA finals. Like, how have they done in the past? Has it been one crew? Has it always been a different crew every game? Have they done the all-star method? Have they done the crew method? I think they're doing the crew method now because they seem like the same crews that I remember seeing in the regular season in terms of when I see,
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. I think these are a version of all-star crews. Like, these are guys that have earned playoff.
You think it's all-star crews? You think it's all-star crews?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's wrong because I feel like, you got to have leadership, just like, teams in the NBA. You got to have teams and referees. This is a big point. All right, we should table this. We should table this for now. We get some research and actually have something more interesting and useful to say to our listeners. Agreed?
Yeah, just as long as you recognize that I'm most likely right, we can move on.
I don't think I was totally disputing. I just didn't know. Anyway, I'm happy to give that to you. That's a very easy give since I don't care.
Thank you.
But let's move on to some of the best parts, the final parts of the first 3 quarters. Honestly, the third quarter was the best part. I mean, can we just talk about, you referenced it earlier, the Deli Braun lob jam.
A lot of fun.
Holy shit. I think that's where I lost my voice. I've gained it a little bit back tonight, but like I felt embarrassed afterwards, but it was because I just was like, it's just loud as I fucking could, jumping up and down, and I immediately turned and apologized to the very quiet, solitary Golden State fan that was sitting next to me. That was a weird one. She was just sitting there, not talking to anyone else, but clearly she was a Golden State fan, but didn't talk to anybody else.
A woman too?
Yeah. It was weird.
A woman went by herself out to the bar, a Warriors fan, to watch the Nets.
And wasn't wearing any gear, but it was clear to me that she was a Warriors fan. She was clearly invested in watching, and I think seemed to be annoyed at how loud I was.
I mean, I can imagine you were extremely obnoxious.
I was literally right next to her the whole game. So I was frequently apologizing to her, and she didn't seem to be bothered, but, whatever. Anyway, that was just so fucking amazing. And, like, that was the moment I thought for a second. And I think that's the moment where, our friend Jeff Stiggy did his best to fucking blow it for everyone. Like, goddamn asshole saying this game's over with 14 minutes to go and only like a 13-point lead at the time. I think that the jam led to a 13-point lead. I think it wasn't that big at the time, I feel like.
No, I think the jam was actually later during our come. I think that was when Golden State had started to chew into the lead a little bit, actually.
Really? Yeah. That's my thing. This goes back to our friend Dave Deming's point of just watching the game after you know what's going to happen. Like, you remember things more clearly without the fog of
for sure.
Fear and panic. But other things in that sequence was just LeBron's passing. There was some great vines I saw on Twitter of just like pass after pass where LeBron is throwing it like cross court so fucking fast right in the shooting pocket. Like if you don't know how hard it is to catch a ball out of the shooting pocket and then shoot, and I only kind of know that because I'm terrible at basketball, but you just don't know how hard that is and how amazing it is that he does that so perfectly. He gets it there so fast and then right the perfect spot for a quick shot. Incredible. And it led to the Golden State sulking that that led a lot of us to think for a second. I held strong. I did not cave. I was pretty sure they were going to come back, but still, they let us.
No, I think I said at the start of the fourth quarter, this is less points than they were down to the Pelicans.
Yeah, and as I said,
in Game 3 in the first round, they're totally capable of this, and we have demonstrated that we are totally capable of blowing a lead many times.
Look, 12 minutes, 4 points per minute is my rule, right? So how many points is that? That's 48, right?
Yeah, double it.
So that means you need 96 points in the fourth quarter. If you have a 96-point lead in the fourth quarter, then you can relax against the Golden State Warriors. That's the rule. That's how it works. So let's move to the last part of the game. Do you have anything to say about the first 3 quarters? Go ahead.
A couple other things in that third quarter. One, how about our defense then, man? Our defense was crazy. Zach Lowe on his podcast said I think he thought the third quarter was the best defense he's seen a team play this year. Somebody compared how they were playing to the Zombies in 28 Days Later. Like that kind of ferocity and activity level.
Swarming.
We were swatting things at the rim like crazy.
Oh my God, it was nuts. And the worst
Mozgov's
go ahead.
Mozgov's verticality on Draymond runs to the rim where he's just engulfed him. LeBron getting I love when LeBron gets so fired up on D.
Hold on. Can I just say how often I shouted to all the Warriors fans who were bitching in that bar, rule of verticality. Rule of verticality. I was pointing at them. I was like, he went straight up. The dude drove into him. That was a completely great call. I cannot believe these horrible refs, which we'll get into later, called that correctly. But they called it correctly consistently all game. I don't know what to get to these fucking refs, but I'll get to that in a second. All right, continue with LeBron. What you were saying about LeBron.
So love how fired up he was on D when he's getting in and really going nuts at the rim is another level for him. And during that stretch, and this played out in the fourth quarter, which we'll talk about, he was hitting shots like crazy. He was putting in those
crazy
like one-step turnarounds in the
he
paint.
leads back 4 feet. Oh my God!
Yeah,
nuts.
He was filthy. Those stopped dropping a little bit in the fourth quarter, which led to some of our problems. But I think there's also I think Brian Windhorst, I saw tweeted this or mentioned it in an interview today. LeBron hasn't had a good shooting game yet in this series, obviously, right? Like, and that efficiency versus volume thing is a big talking point. Windhorst said he's going to have one, he thinks, at some point. I don't know if he will, but it's certainly possible that he does. And if he does, it's going to be insane because he's going to score 60 points. And that certainly is something that he's capable of and would probably be enough to put one game away for us.
True.
So just something to keep an eye on.
I hope for that every night. I just don't see it coming because I feel like lately it comes in spurts. I've never seen it over a whole game. Honestly, I've never seen LeBron for an entire game have a shooting streak like that. It's one of those things where he rises out to pure efficiency, just like he did in the Detroit game, the 48 special. It was the fourth quarter where he got hot and he just rode that out and crushed it.
I agree with you, but I'm talking about a game where he shoots 60% from the field. And the other thing is he's not settling for jumpers so much. I think he does sometimes because he's exhausted and conserving energy. He's going to the rim a lot. He's getting hacked
no calls.
With no calls. And that's another thing that is eating into his efficiency like crazy. Dwayne Wade was needling him a little bit in the interview last night comparing his own efficiency and lack of shots in the 06 series. If you remember back to 06, that was infuriating, and Dwayne Wade started to make a murder list because he was just throwing himself into Mavericks defenders and getting calls, and all the shots he was throwing up in those circumstances did not count as field goal attempts because he was fouled. Yeah. So if you take every time LeBron's driving to the basket, getting hammered and throwing up shots that don't get in and not getting called, those are all attempts on his field goal attempts that are counting against his shooting percentage that, in my opinion, should really be free throw attempts.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that's really hurting his efficiency. And that's also something that who the hell knows what these refs are doing could start to flip if the game was called a little more honestly. I appreciate that he's hard to call in the same way that Shaq was sort of hard to call.
Yeah.
But they are getting away. And again, credit to them. The same way, if you're allowed to set illegal screens, well, you might as well set them. If you're allowed to hack LeBron as much as you want on his way to the rim, you might as well do it.
Might as well. Yeah, absolutely.
And even the Warriors fans I know here were admitting during the game that they were just like, yeah, we're getting away with it. Why wouldn't we do this?
Yeah, and I agree with them. That they're playing the game the right way. It's frustrating, though. I just don't – that's why I get angry at the refs. I don't get angry at the other team for that stuff. All right, let's get on to the 14 minutes of horror because it really started towards the end of the third quarter, their comebacks. We were up 21, 22, I feel like. I heard 22, but I feel like we were only up 20 at one point. But anyway.
Yeah, it was just 20.
Just 20, and that was, before the end of the third quarter. So it started happening towards the end of the third quarter. First, at the end of the fourth quarter, to begin the fourth quarter, LeBron had that cute 1 minute of rest, which was just absolutely terrifying every single second. This team without LeBron on the court, I mean, seriously, he played all but 2 minutes of that fucking game. He played 46 minutes. That's fucking insane. What the fuck? I don't know. And this gets to, I think, something our buddy Ned Sackman said. Our number one listener. This is the kind of series that, and we'll talk about this more towards the end when we talk about the game for preview. We gotta kill them now because I don't know that we can really win a 7-game series. I don't know that we have the energy and the stamina to win a 7-game series.
Or, Pat, importantly, I think the talent, right? Like, that's the thing about the NBA. That's why the best teams almost always win in series is because talent wins out. We are at a talent gap. Almost everybody would admit that. The longer the series goes, the more likely that talent is to win out.
Yeah, except that we do have some – I mean, the thing about guys like Shump and Smith is that they are incredibly talented. They are mercurial is the thing, right? You don't know who's going to show up. And we have enough mercurial guys that, we can still kind of hang in there with a guy like LeBron because LeBron is better than anyone else in this series by a large margin. I don't want to say too large of a margin because Curry when he's on is horrifying.
Right. That was Curry in the fourth quarter was the most terrifying.
And that's what I want to get to next is that fact that Curry obviously caught fire in that fourth quarter, and it was horrifying to watch. Because I mean, Jesus, it just that lead evaporated so quickly, and that's why we have said take the normal rule we established for when you can feel comfortable and double it because the Warriors have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, another guy who can get really hot. Curry gets hot more often. I feel like it's more automatic, kind of. It's more assumed. But what I found interesting, Matt, and then you tell me what you think. I'll start first. Because I just talk, talk too much anyways. It was funny towards the 10th minute, 11th minute, when LeBron came in, Delly went out for some reason. I didn't know why at first. I was confused. It looks like he was starting to get those cramps, those crazy cramps he got by the end of the night, and he sat down. So Blatt started putting Shump on Curry. Now Shump's our best defender, supposedly. I still think he is our best defender, normally. The difference is, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like he just has a hard time with guys like Curry. Quick, super fast, small guys. Shump's strength is bothering you with his length and his quickness, not his physicality. Because he's so long, if he gets physical, it's a foul. You know what I mean? I don't know how that explains it. But like when you get those long limbs, if you get physical and bump up against somebody, it's just more obvious because your limbs catch somebody. It just looks bad. Whereas a guy like Delly can get away with it a little more because he's just chest bumping. It looks a little more clean, I guess. I don't know. This is my totally bullshit made up on the spot theory.
I think it's probably a black-white thing, Pat.
It might be a black-white thing. No, but I'm serious in terms of the actual length thing. Seriously, no. I mean that I would love to think there was a black-white thing because my theory about dirty players, white dirty players getting away with it. But I think honestly, it doesn't. I watch Shump, and Shump gets away with it. He doesn't get away with it. Actually, he's actually one of the best in the league at cleanly stripping the ball. I've never seen anyone who's so great at just getting his hand clearly on the ball, when those hard swipes. But, when he's trying to be physical against a guy, he's got these long arms. I stop talking because this is not a good theory. Anyway, the point is that Shump was terrible on Curry. He got torched by Curry. And more curiously, the defense switched to a switch defense. The entire game, 3 quarters in, we guarded Curry with a hard, not quite a trap, but a show and recover, right? We would throw out the pick man hard on him, push him out, past, the 30-foot line, right? 30 foot from the basket to give Delly time to recover. With Shump, we let TT, for example, for some reason, just switch because he can cover him. And TT's, amazing defender, particularly even against guys, most all-star point guards, but not against Curry. Curry just torched him. 7 for 8 he was against TT. 7 for 8.
No, it was curious to me. It looked to me on a bunch of those that Curry's man, if it was Delly or Shumpert, was ready to get back on him, and TT just didn't go back on his guy. It's almost like TT waved him off and was just like, I got this, and it's a split-second thing, right? Like the guard needs to get back on Curry, he needs to get back on the screener. And it felt like it looked to me like that was TT. I don't know if that was their plan and that's just what they executed, or if TT just got caught up in it and got freaked out and didn't make the right call to get back to his guy.
I'm a good guy. Yeah, I can handle this.
Or I got this, or I'm too scared that you don't have it, and he's such a big deal that I need to. Whatever it is, it felt to me like TT was blowing the assignment a little bit. But I agree. Whatever it is, I agree with you. That can't happen.
But what's crazy, they wouldn't do it with Delly. When Delly came back, I think they switched it all. I mean, this is, again, the problem with not being able to watch the game. So I think they switched it with both of them. I don't know. I feel like towards the end of the game when Delly came back in and started guarding him again in the last, 2-3 minutes, that Delly kept with him. And, Curry was by that point hot and started hitting shots on Delly. Delly's numbers against Curry were less impressive tonight because it was 3 of 6 on 3-pointers. He was, not great, but, not as horrible on shot. All that came in the last 3 minutes, all those shots, he was destroying Curry through 3 quarters. And I think that honestly, the part of the reason why Curry was crushing Delly at the end of the game is because he got his rhythm going. Now, and that's the big fear going forward is that does Curry have his rhythm now, and are we fucked? Because we can't withstand that kind of offense.
That's one. I mean, I think there's questions about the Warriors making adjustments. My brother just sent us something to say if he was Curry, he would stop running pick and rolls for Curry and just let him operate one-on-one against Delly or whoever's guarding him. I think that's right because Delly cannot stay with him one-on-one.
That's true. I saw that a little bit. I saw that a little bit towards the end of the game a couple of times. Curry would just start to do this one-on-one, stuff. All at the same time, that's also bad basketball. And I think Curry's game is a little I think he gets in the rhythm. He can do that once he's got that rhythm going. I think that might be fool's gold, Johnny. That's my only hope. Because if that's true, John, we're fucked. We're not gonna win the series. If all they have to do is just do one-on-one, no picks, and just have Curry. That's funny.
It's a version. It's a version of what Golden State does, right? If Golden State's thing is let's let LeBron beat us and he can score however many points. And I don't know how they'll react to this, but you could also say from the Cavs, fine, play up on him. Don't give him 3-point shots. Let him get into the lane and try stuff around the hoop or his little floaters and everything. And even if he's good, it's only 2 points versus 3 points. It certainly is out of their offense, right? They like that chaos that they've got where they've got stuff moving around.
Beautiful basketball.
Beautiful basketball. They like that. The Cavs have taken that away very well, right? That's what they've done. And part of that has just been sagging off of Barnes and Green and Iguodala and just saying these guys can beat us if they're going to, and we're betting they won't, and that bet has been right so far.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like those guys are close to getting it back right now. And so if you were in that situation, I could see Kerr saying, screw it, let's ride the MVP and you go create some offense. And at least let's try that versus what's been going on and clearly not working for them so far in the series.
Yeah, and as John just said in another text to us, he can at least break down the D and kick out, and that's absolutely true. I don't know why he needs a screen to beat Delhi off the dribble. It's just what they've been doing.
He doesn't.
So yeah, it's interesting. I would be that is a great thing to look out for, and hopefully the Cavs saw that and are anticipating that and are planning around how to deal with that. And honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know how they deal with that. I don't know how they deal with that.
That's going to be the most fascinating thing to me about Game 4 is adjustments, right? Like there's lineup stuff, there's play calling stuff. What is Kerr going to do? And then how good is Blatt to anticipate and counterpunch?
Speaking of one adjustment, the Warriors have thrown out a huge adjustment every game. In Game 2, they neutralized TT by putting Bogut on him, but TT kind of beat him in Game 3. He overcame that in Game 3. But Game 2, it was a difference maker. We just happened to pull it out. In Game 3, the big wrinkle that Golden State threw down the stretch was David Lee.
Yeah.
The All-Star, the highest paid player on Golden State's roster. He played his first minutes of the finals. Like, can I just say, if we have any Golden State fans listening, and God bless you if you are listening to this. I mean, Jesus, you care about your team if you're listening to a Cavs podcast. Fuck you. Fuck you guys. You guys have David fucking Lee on your goddamn bench doing goddamn nothing for 2 full finals fucking games. Fuck you guys. You guys have so much. You have so many guys. I mean, yes, we have LeBron, and I get that. That's fucking you back to us. But holy shit. Steve Kerr, I think, is a great coach. He's been showing it throughout this series, throughout this playoffs. His adjustments are incredible, and the balls he has to put a guy like David Lee on the bench. What a fucking luxury to be able to go, oh, by the way, we have this guy. We can just kind of throw out, in the middle of a series in the fourth quarter. You haven't been playing for. That you haven't been planning for or scheming for because we haven't played him at all. I mean, he was a huge difference maker, and it's a big fucking deal that we won that game and survived that surprise because now we do have some time to plan for him now because Golden State will be fucking insane if they didn't play David Lee 30 minutes tomorrow. Honestly. David Lee,
especially without Draymond Green's been playing.
He's horrible right now, Draymond Green. David Lee needs to be playing some big minutes. And that could be good in the sense that we can, open things up on offense. But honestly, our offense is so troglodytic. We have so few weapons on offense, creators at least on offense, reliable creators, that I don't think we're going to really expose David Lee that much on defense. And more importantly, he's more valuable to what they can provide on offense. Like, that's how they're going to beat us. John just texted, Johnny Youngner, your brother, just texted, he's a huge liability on D. Yes, he is, but we're terrible on D. They can survive the same way that we can survive with Kevin Love, the same way that we want Kevin Love to space the floor so we can get some offense going, for God's sakes. We don't have that. I mean, David Lee is not nearly as good a player as Kevin Love in terms of spacing the floor and on offense, but he is a crucial player for Golden State, I think, in the rest of this series. Think about it. He was huge on offense, spacing, passing, scoring. They've had no post play. He actually gave them, he didn't get any post play, but he had some, down to the basket paint buckets. But also boards. He's actually a tonic for the Golden State's problem against Mozgov and TT. He can actually counteract some of that stuff. So that's a worry for the Cavs of being able to counteract that stuff, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm concerned about it. I think he's got the ability to draw some fouls on our big guys too, which is what we talked about.
Yeah,
we cannot afford fouls at all.
But, he's also got the Mike Miller factor that he hasn't been playing much at all. So, I don't know. He played so great last night in short spurts that I'm worried about him.
Yeah, I don't know how many minutes he's going to be able to give them productively, and
Probably
there's stuff
20.
that we can do to try to exploit him on defense. It was interesting in that fourth quarter. I think this is a sign of how exhausted LeBron was. The league got switched on to LeBron a couple times, and LeBron couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I saw that. Yeah.
Which is not a testament to David Lee's defense. I promise you.
No.
That's going to be an interesting thing to watch. That, and I think Iguodala playing for Barnes. Iguodala was, I thought, their best player last night until Curry caught fire.
Yeah,
he worried me most.
Let's light a candle for Harrison Barnes. Holy shit, that was an all-time stinker. I really hope he keeps doing that. I just, boy, that's tough. That's a tough night. He's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Not great player. Sorry, I shouldn't say great. He's a really good, solid player. 0 of 8 he was. He had nothing. I mean, his box score is just horrible.
And then the notion that he can guard LeBron, I hope we can all discard now. LeBron just ate him for lunch.
We can put that to bed. And if Golden State is smart, they probably keep the same starting lineup just to keep the things flowing and not upset people and keep people happy. But they're gonna put Iguodala in like 6 minutes in and play him 40 minutes. They should be playing. I mean,
at the most.
Yeah, if they're not playing Iguodala 40 minutes, they're crazy. Other things I thought was crazy was that triple screen they did to spring Curry for that 3 that cut the lead to 1, or 20-point lead to 1. Do you remember that? I mean,
yeah,
that was amazing basketball. I think one of our buddies, I think Ned actually, was like furious and just wanted to kill Green for his moving pick on that the triple screen, but just the execution of one screen, our guy but the Cavs, the way the Cavs defended it was just automatic screen. Man goes out, flares out in Curry. Another screen on that guy. His man flares out, screens on Curry. Another man screens him. And then Mozgov flares out on Curry. He gets a hand up in a really good defensive position, and Curry just, splash, as they say, in Golden State. That was incredible, and that's what terrifies me, is that we played that as well as we could have. And that was an amazingly executed series of picks, and we played it so well, and he still sunk it. So that's what really scares me about Golden State going forward. But can we just briefly, Matt, I don't know if you have anything else to say about before that. I just want to I'm probably wrong about the sequence of these events, but let's just recap briefly what happened at the end of that game. There was a triple screen, the spring Curry for that 3-pointer that cut the lead to 1. And then Delly got fouled about 4 times before he shot the ball. Like egregiously. Like I was just screaming. I mean, I was in the bar even, in my softened state of not being stuck in a cell, losing my shit. On the 5th foul, he jumped and threw up this miracle prayer that banked in, and he sank the M1. And then LeBron.
By the way,
what?
Curry had the nerve after the game when asked about that play to say, "Yeah, it was a crazy shot. I mean, I don't know if I got him or not." But
fuck you, fuck you, Steph.
Yeah,
fuck you, Steph.
Unreal.
Fuck you. Give me a fucking break. You knew you fouled him like 4 fucking times. That was ridiculous. This is not the Delly rebound, which was also a foul in game 2 that he put back up and got fouled on. This was not that foul, which was a light call, but frankly we had earned after those ridiculous calls that all Golden State fans, I think all reasonable Golden State fans, acknowledge was ridiculous. Anyway, Delly hits 6 at 3, 6 at 1, and then LeBron hits that 3 to push up to 7. I feel like LeBron also got the steal right after that, and he pointed to his head.
I don't think it was. I think Golden State scored, and then we came down and turned the ball over. They came back, and that's when he got that steal.
Right, and then pushed the lead back up, and he was pointing to his head. And he said later, I think Grant was saying, was he like getting Steph's head, saying, "I'm in your head," apparently LeBron said, no, I was saying I've seen that play. I knew exactly what you guys were running, and I anticipated it and stole the ball. But then Curry just kept killing, just kept splashing. It was terrifying. He would just, sneak free for, a sliver and just drain it, without any effort. And then we got the ball in the outbouts, and then Shump literally passed the ball to Stephen Curry at the top of the three-point line, and he missed it.
I couldn't believe that.
What the fuck?
Do you know who he was trying to pass to?
The floor after that. I think he thought Delly was cutting up. Your brother just texted us about this. Exactly. I think he thought Delly was cutting up, but I don't know what he thought he saw because, I couldn't see it. I don't know. I think he thought someone was cutting that way, unless I don't know. Jesus, it was completely unreal. It was one of those. Are you fucking kidding me? And then
that would have gone down with Vlad's timeout call when we had no timeouts.
Oh yeah, it has to. It has to go in the lexicon. I mean, holy shit! Holy shit! I can't believe that he didn't sink that. First of all, given how hot he was. Oh, so then Steph misses. Then the Delly inbounds play, right? He's going for the ball. I can't believe they call a foul on that because, one, Klay Thompson was trying to foul him on the play. Two, did foul him several times. Three, had his hand on the ball with his foot out of bounds, and Delly inexplicably and stupidly, he should have just played off the I got thrown into the out of bounds play. You got to call a foul. I'm forced to call a foul. Threw the ball back into play, so the ref said, "Oh, whistle." It wasn't really a foul, so it's Golden State's ball because he threw out of bounds. Oh, let's review it. Oh, he was stepping out of bounds. I mean, holy shit! These refs, and this gets to my part two of what the ref.
One more sequence.
One more sequence before I get to that. Yes, Delly inbounds. They make the right call, and LeBron saying thank you, to them, like Jesus Christ, you fucking got it right. Something like the Golden State fans were upset. I'm like, no. That was 100% fair. That was what should have happened. He was out of bounds, number one. Two, he also fouled. There's no reason you should be upset you don't have the ball. This is the Cavs ball. But two, just LeBron and Delly on the floor at the end of the game. That was, I will say, a egregious foul by LeBron, just crashing into Curry. That didn't get called. But at the same time,
the slide tackle?
The slide tackle. Yeah, exactly. The slide tackle. The FIFA slide tackle. That was a red card for sure. Not red card, yellow card, I would say. He's not going to be ejected for a game. But yeah, that was definitely a foul. But, an entire game's worth of drives to the basket where, again, what the fuck? And this is my what the ref part two. What the ref with how they're calling LeBron. It's the Shaq treatment, but he's getting just completely hacked throughout these games, just flying to the basket. I don't fucking get it, man. It's getting to the point of what do they have to do? Do they punch him in the fucking face to get a foul? If he gets punched in the face, all right, then you'll call a foul on a drive. They can do whatever else they want to him because he's just gigantic. I don't get it. This is ridiculous.
He's actually really maintained his composure pretty well through all that.
Amazingly.
I mean, that's a general theme for him. Is he's really held his shit together throughout this. I think that's part of his leadership mantra. I think the Cavs in general, you don't see a ton of complaining about calls from them.
No, and I think LeBron will get into them. I mean, Blatt really does not get into them. And my dad was saying, I think after Game 2's win, David Blatt should call the refs out. He should just do it, take the fine, and and really send a message to them. I'm like, I don't know, Dad. I thought it was great that Mike Brown back in 07 on our big run made the whole we're not no excuses team. He had the whole thing, and I feel like that really helped us out long run. I feel like that's the kind of thing I think that builds respect and trust with refs. When you don't call them out, you let them know you're pissed about the call. You let them know that you're upset and angry, but you don't then grandstand and show them up. That's the wrong thing to do. And I think that's how we've carried ourselves the Golden State Warriors are taking the exact opposite tack and haven't been punished for it yet. I feel like they've been grandstanding the whole fucking series, like just screaming at guys in their faces for obvious foul calls. Like, there's not even something you should be arguing over. And
haven't been punished by the refs, but I think it's
it might be playing into it. Yeah, it might be playing into our late game calls, because we have been fortunate a bit. Well, I'm sorry, not in game two. Game two, Jesus Christ. But
I don't even mean that. I just mean from a demeanor and how you carry yourself and what it means and wanting it and not looking for excuses. I do think there is something to that. Is the Cavs clearly have excuses galore lined up for why they shouldn't be in this series, right? Yeah. And part of their ethos right now is we don't give a shit about those excuses. We're winning this goddamn thing. Absolutely. Whatever we have to do.
Absolutely.
And somebody else goes down, fine.
Next man up.
Deal with it. Calling terrible plays, whatever, we'll deal with it. I think that's a big part of their strength right now. It's just that mentality.
Yeah. I agree. And that's how we have to play this game. That's how these guys have that the mentality going forward. And I think I'm trying to remember who wrote this, but that was the basic message LeBron has been giving to the Cavs this whole time is we have to beat the shit out of these guys every fucking night. Like we have. I think I might be verbatim.
Jason Lloyd. Lloyd said that.
Yeah, I might be verbatim about this. Like we have to beat the shit out of these guys every
living hell out of them.
The living hell out of them. Yes, that was the right phrase. And not in a dirty way, because we aren't being dirty. But just we have to really fucking fight these guys in a way that, you see, I saw a tweet from Damian Lillard last night, just saying, "Damn, the Cavs fucking want it. They want it bad."
Saw that from Kobe too.
Yeah, and it's true. We clearly want it more than the Warriors. That is absolutely true. I don't even think the Warriors fans could argue that. And if I was a Warriors fan right now, I'd be really pissed off at the Warriors players. I'd be pissed off, or at least I give them an excuse. They're young, they don't really understand how important this is, but they don't get it. They aren't getting it yet. They don't get it yet, and I hope they don't get it, because if they get it, we're fucked. But if they don't get it, that's fucking fantastic, because they just don't get it right now, and the Cavs clearly want it more. And the Cavs, while not nearly as talented as the Warriors, are talented enough that want is way more valuable than talent at this level. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I totally agree with that.
I do, in the sense that these guys aren't. Not everyone's James Jones has one specific talent, right? Fine. There's a lot of guys in our roster like Kendrick Perkins that have no value whatsoever, aside from being a goon. Every team needs a goon. But my point is that guys like Shump and Smith and now Delly are talented enough that if the more talented players don't want it as bad as these guys want it, we can win the series. We're going to beat them. That's what I mean. If the more talented team wants it as bad as we do, then we're fucked. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
There's something to that. I think that leaves out some game planning and scheming.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course.
That is sort of separate from talent and will.
Absolutely. Mike Brown demonstrated that, I feel like. His teams played super hard, but they had they had good schemes on defense, but they just had no schemes on offense. And not that our schemes on offense are brilliant, but they are brutal in their intelligence. I feel like what we're doing is incredibly intelligent, if not efficient, with a guy like LeBron. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are going for. I think we might be going for the record tonight, Maddie, because we have so much to get to, and I don't feel like I'm done talking. Do you?
I don't think you're done talking at all.
Oh, fuck you. How about you? Do you feel like you're done talking? Because if you're done talking, I will hang up on you and be all pouty for the rest of the night.
No, let's keep going.
No, let's keep going. Anyway, the other things I wanted to say was, we complained about LeBron being, not getting calls. I saw a stat a bunch of times on the screens in the bar from ESPN showing that LeBron had more free throws than the entire Golden State lineup. I don't know if anyone made a big deal out of this, but I feel like this should be obvious. That's because Golden State had no inside game. They had no shots in the paint. We had a shit ton of shots in the paint because of LeBron James.
Pat, 2 addendums to that. One, he had 12 free throw attempts for the game. The Warriors had 12 free throw attempts for the game. Mm-hmm. So it was even.
It's even. One guy, the whole thing. So one guy has made free throw attempts.
But even there, 4 of his free throw attempts were intentional fouls at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
That would have gone to anybody. We just happened to get to the ball to him. So he shot 8 free throws from a game where he was working in the post and getting hacked.
Yeah.
So no, I don't want to hear that at all from Warriors fans.
Yeah, I agree.
That interests me not a win.
100%. Other thing I wanted to say was I had this notion watching the Cavs and talking to the other guys in the bar that watching the Cavs in this finals and this playoffs is like watching a horror movie. It's just you know what's coming. Except you care about the characters more, I think, in the Cavs than you do about in most horror movies. But it becomes predictable in the sense of, oh fuck, that guy's not dead. That guy's not fucking dead. He's not fucking dead. He's getting up. He's gonna get up and he's gonna splash a bunch of fucking threes. That's going to fucking happen.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen a million times that I watch fucking horror movies. Like, shut the fuck up. It's not over yet. That is one thing.
Yeah.
Also, all the injuries.
We play our own part in it too, Pat. Right? So it's like. The don't go back in the house, don't get in the car with a stranger. We're doing it to ourselves.
No, don't stop. God, no, don't do it. I mean,
like, don't throw that pass.
Don't
hold on to that ball.
I mean, when I saw Shump throw the ball to Curry at the top of the key, does that not get more, running away down the stairwell and turning down, opening the door and seeing Jason, from Friday the 13th standing there ready to stab you in the fucking eye.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't get that what that was. It was like, oh my God, I could see that happening. It's the cat jumping out of the corner, the cheap scare. It's everything bundled into one. And that's why I dissolve into a puddle in the floor of a bar at the end of the evening. It's insane. My night was just a mess. All right, let's move things along, Maddie. This is obviously a long night, but probably made longer by our technical difficulties. Hopefully, it's not as long as it is. I've lost all track of time, so let's just keep plowing through. I wanted to take a pause for a mailbag section because we do have some friends that are loyal listeners and send in comments and feedback and requests for things. Stiggy, for example, the Vile Sticky Thins, was sending us comments during our last podcast that we didn't get to, some of them. One of them was this comment, plus minus is an incredibly misleading stat. You guys should stop talking about it. I probably subjected you, Matt, to a long exchange with Stiggy on this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, sorry about that. My final take on this, I'd like to hear your take on it as well, is I was trying to convey to Stiggy, I'm not a defender of the plus-minus stat. The plus-minus stat is clearly flawed. But Stiggy's position, as I think you could vouch for in the text exchange, is that there is absolutely zero value to the plus-minus stat, meaning plus-minus points, just points alone, not plus-minus, offensive rating, defensive rating, all that stuff. The plus-minus stat for an individual player is completely useless. Now, I find the most use for plus-minus stats in seeing how a certain player fits in a lineup. That is where I see some, use, meaning it doesn't mean anything per se. It doesn't mean like an obvious, this makes sense, this guy's a grazing player because of this stat. It's interesting. That's an interesting note. That stands out. Why did James Jones have plus 22 in game 2, right? Was it game 2?
Yeah.
Why did they have plus 10, 22? That would tell me I should look at the stats, other stats involving, his role in these lineups. And why do those lineups succeed? That's what I think the plus minus does. It's like a telltale. It's the canary in the coal mine. It's like a flag more than anything. It's not a great stat that tells you that like Kyle Korver is, the 5th best player in the league or whatever. I feel like he sent me some play. Obviously the plus minus leaders in the league are guys playing on good teams. That's what plus minus.
I think it was Danny Green actually.
Danny Green. Yeah. Thank you. Some guy like that, who just but. Danny Green's high up on that list because he also plays good defense and has 3-pointers. That is, on a team perspective, a very valuable trait. And I think it's a big reason why he's so high up in the plus minus. Doesn't mean he's the fifth best player in the league, but it means that he plays a big role in effective lineups. Then you have to look deeper. So that's what I think, Siggy, about plus minus long term. Do you agree, Matt? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I'm pretty aligned with you on that. I mean, he's right that you don't just look at plus minus and see who's better, right?
Yes,
but
I never said that. I agree with that.
And I might make this analogy. You don't just look at the final score of a game to see which player is better than which, right?
Yes.
Like the Golden State Warriors beat the Cavs in game 1. That doesn't mean that Leandro Barbosa is better than LeBron James, right? Mm-hmm. That would be foolish to think that.
Yeah.
But it's an indication that let's dig deep and see what happened. So that James Jones was plus 22 in the second game certainly stands out. I'd like to think a little bit about why that was. Was he in the game just for a run that was spurred by other players? Did he do something particularly well there? It's just, like you said, it's something that can spark further investigation and conversation and is interesting. All stats are misleading.
Yeah.
Versteeg should know that better than anybody. He is an absolutist and loves to be right, and got a little crazy on this one. I think it's an interesting stat to spark conversation and further curiosity. It is not an indication of who is better than who. I would never think that. But most stats aren't really an indication of who is better than who.
No,
in any way. Exactly.
I feel like the plus minus is in some respects overrated. Meaning it's not a super useful stat. But I think it's not a super overrated stat because I think a lot of analytics guys recognize it for its weaknesses. But the guys that I follow that I respect don't cut it out entirely. They point out, say this is interesting. It doesn't say everything, but noted. Like I'm just pointing it out. I'm just gonna put this here and walk away.
Right. Which is how we utilized it last time, right?
Yeah.
We said James Jones is plus 22. That's crazy. And TT's minus 21. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's not to say that James Jones is better than Tristan or had a better game than him or any of that. But it is interesting to me that we were outscored by 21 points when Tristan Thompson was on the floor. That might have something to do with Tristan's play. It may not have anything to do with Tristan's play.
To me, it
seems like a worthwhile way to start to dissect the game and figure out what happened.
Exactly. It's a sign to you, hey, I'm going to look into this more. What the hell's going on? Why? Tristan's obviously a better player than James Jones. Why is this happening? All right. I want to move into Rob's email that we missed during the last podcast. And I think it kind of plays into what we were talking about today. I'll just read the whole thing. He said, it seems to me like in game 1 and game 2, LeBron is trying to take the last shot to create his Jordan moment. He has missed both, and he gets erratic at the end trying to force shit. Do you think after this win, maybe he starts dishing at the end? Do you think he really does believe his teammates got into the playoffs, or do you think he's just saying it because he knows it is what he is supposed to do? I think I was impressed and happy at the end of game 2 that he drove to the basket. His shot at the end of game 1 was horrible. I think that was probably fatigue that drove him to take that shot. Go ahead.
I think that one was a combination of a couple of things. It was maybe fatigue. It was the circumstances under which he took it, right? Like we wanted something right at the end of the buzzer, or right before the buzzer went off so that we did not give Golden State a chance to come back and do anything. I think they probably blew – I don't know. They maybe just did not draw something up that was very creative or very good. Golden State may have blown it up.
Yeah,
that wasn't a good shot for sure. I was much happier. I agree with you with what he did at the end of game 2. Interestingly, in the overtime of game 2, in the biggest moment when we were coming down 1, LeBron also drove, found resistance at the rim, and passed it off to James Jones to shoot the three-pointer that would have put us up by 2, which Jones missed and led to the Delly rebound. So I think LeBron has a pretty extensive history of not necessarily taking those shots in those situations. He generally looks for the best basketball play possible. Doesn't always do that, and sometimes he falls into hero ball more than I would like, but I think I would say no to Rob's questions. I don't think he's trying to channel his inner Jordan. He does know that his teammates got him here. It's just that the teammates that he has now are not capable of creating their own offense in any way. So he has to initiate anything that generally leads to him taking shots. But when he finds open guys, he's willing to give them the ball to take those shots. He trusts them to hit it, even in big moments, which I think James Jones demonstrated.
Yeah, and I think that's really fascinating about LeBron is that he's the most reluctant guy to be doing what he's doing. Like this is the kind of game that he hates. You know, but he knows it's necessary because he's lost the weapons around him. He doesn't have. I mean, he has the weapons. He has like guys who can shoot, but that's it. You know, he knows he's got to just to kind of force the issue, slow shit down, and just make it work. So I think we didn't get a game-winning shot in Game 3. So we didn't get a good test of this, but I feel like what he did in Game 2 was the right thing of just driving to the basket and forcing the issue. I mean, it's interesting. It was more interesting, I think, in Game 1 because he didn't give the ball to Kyrie, who I think was having success creating a decent shot in a way that LeBron wasn't because he had one of the best defenders in the league on him in Iguodala. So that
yeah, and again, though, I'd have to go back and watch the end of that game. I haven't done that. Irving brought the ball up, gave it to LeBron, and then I think the play got blown up. That's my impression, but I need to watch it again to really see that.
Yeah, all right. My impression was that Irving brought the ball up and gave it to LeBron because LeBron was the last shot. I feel like that was the plan. But again,
that could be. But I don't think a fall away 3-pointer with 2 guys draped on him was the shot they were anticipating him taking.
No, exactly. I agree.
That's what I mean by the play got blown up.
I agree. Last big thing, although I think we have another Ned thing to get to as well. I wanted to get to Riffle's point. Dan Riffle, our buddy, who is a muckety muck, by the way. Dan Riffle.
Big deal.
Big deal. A big fucking deal, as they say in the parlance of our time.
Started from the bottom.
Is now a big shot. What do you call it?
Weed lobbyist.
Weed lobbyist. Right, for the marijuana policy project.
That's the title on his. That's the title on his business card.
Did I pick the right lobbyist group?
Organization?
Yeah, I hope
Policy
so.
project. Yes.
Dan, I
That's
apologize
right.
forever if I got that wrong. I'm truly embarrassed. I do apologize if I got that wrong.
Anyway, that's what he works for.
Yeah, he said he wanted to address the now pervasive notion that the Kyrie Love injuries saved the team, and the Cavs would now be down 3-0 if it weren't for those injuries. Riffle. This makes me think, Matt, that Riffle hasn't actually been listening to all of our podcasts.
Suspicious, huh?
I think we've addressed some of the Kevin Love shit. We haven't with the Kyrie because it's laughable. The Kevin Love stuff is a little bit more, mainstream. I know he listened to it. And Riffle, I do not mean to impugn your loyalty because you did listen to us to go to sleep, but I think you fell asleep early before your what did they do? Triathlon? What did they do again, Matt? What did they do?
Yeah, it was a triathlon, which is weird.
Which is also kind of weird, but cool, impressive, but weird.
So Pat, I think he's actually asking a little bit more nuanced question. So I don't think he's asking, should we not Love next year and just roll with TT, and then maybe we don't have to sign. I don't think he's asking that. I think he's saying. In this particular series against this particular opponent, are we better off playing with better defenders? So you get the 2 weakest defenders we had in our starting lineup out. You get 2 stronger defenders in for them. Is that a better way to beat this team than if we had our full complement? I think that's the question he's asking. Okay,
interesting. That's a good interpretation. Is a generous interpretation, and I think probably the right one, honestly. No. Only because I feel like Blatt has been brave enough throughout the season to bench Kevin Love the entire fourth quarters 4 or 5 times. Everyone freaked out. Oh, Kevin Love's gonna leave. Playing the max player, and Kevin Love was like, dude, it was the best matchup. Like that lineup was cracking. They clamped down defensively. Why would you put me back out there? I don't do what TT does. I hit threes. Tristan Thompson doesn't hit threes. If you need threes, you don't want Tristan Thompson out there. If you need threes, you don't want me out there. Not exactly what he said, but that's obviously why Kevin Love is incredibly valuable, and I want both of them on our team, not one or the other. But we would not be 3-0 if we had the two of those guys on our team. We would probably be 3-0 on Golden State right now, because we would have some offensive punch to mix in with the defensive identity. And frankly, I think it really undersells how good defensively Kyrie Irving got. And I think Game 1 showed how good he was defensively. But also, I think also undersells how good defensively Kevin Love became. A team concept. Everyone goes, oh, he doesn't like swat things away. He's not like the most athletic guy. And honestly, he's got to preserve his fouls. He's an offensive guy. He's not going to hack a guy when there's a layup attempt, unless it's like DeAndre Jordan or something like that, who's not going to miss who's going to miss his free throws. You don't give him a foul for easy baskets. You just let it go and keep moving. It's like we got beat. All right, let it go. I don't fault him for that.
I agree with you. I think they would have the improvements to the offense are so dramatic as to outweigh the losses that we'd have on defense, and I think we could have schemed appropriately against this team to mask the weaknesses that both Kyrie and Kevin Love can bring on that end.
Agreed.
And really, and that's especially, Love, I think, because that's the real concern, right? Is what he can do out on pick and rolls. But he can play Andrew Bogut. He's tough enough to play down there with him and you could play a lineup with him at center and TT at power forward for sure, or him at center and LeBron at power forward against these lineups, and I think he would have been fine. So I do not agree with that. I also would much rather have Anderson Varejao back for this series too.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? Can you imagine having that at your disposal for minutes?
For Andy to be playing 15 to 20 minutes a game of just all out crazy Andy.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. Did you see the question from my brother?
Yeah. I was just about to ask about that. Why don't you read it?
So he said, "Are you looking forward to LeBron continuing to channel his inner Mike Fratello? Serious question. And how much could we use Steve Coulter right now? Kind of serious." I hope only kind of.
Maddie, I'm embarrassed. I know who
you
Mike
don't remember
Fratello
Steve
is.
Coulter?
I know who Mike Fratello is. I don't know who Steve Coulter is. Who's Steve Coulter? I can't remember.
Steve Coulter, I don't know. I don't remember very well, but I'm pretty sure he's a journeyman point guard, like a mid-sized point guard who played a bunch of places in the league and played one season with the Cavs in the mid-'90s. For those Fratello teams. And I don't remember anything else about him from then other than he was totally unremarkable. I think he's asking how much could we use another, in a joking way, I don't think he really means Coulter, but how much could we use another point guard that could handle the ball right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Who was the other guy? Was his name Cotter? This guy with the gigantic calves? Like literally calves, like the lower leg extremity. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I don't.
I can't remember his name. I gotta look him up because I have no idea. High stocks, John Youngner saying, I don't know who this guy is. I really don't. I feel
so ignore that. I think he's asking just how much could we use a backup point guard who could play credibly.
Yes,
and handle the ball.
Obviously, yes, that's huge. But part of that is Shump. But at the same time, we don't have more than Shump.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's his point. It'd be great to have another.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it would be huge. We fucking need that.
So how about the first question? So are you looking forward to LeBron continuing to channel his inner Mike Fratello, which I believe he means the same brand of gritty defense and slow the ball down, very laborious offense?
I mean, enjoy. I mean, John Krolik, who is the founder of Cavs the blog, the True Hoop, ESPN True Hoop Cavs blog. He is, I think he pointed out earlier today. He's like, I'm not going to say this is not what we need. It's obviously what we have to do to win, but I'm not going to say I like it or enjoy watching it. And I get that. Like as a fan, I don't give a shit about how it looks. I care about what it does because I want to fucking win a title more than anything, just to get the monkey off our backs. So you know what? Honestly, I care so much more about winning. Yeah, I can't fucking wait for him to challenge Mike Fratello and slow this fucking game down. I mean, your brother's right. Your brother's right, actually. The genius of Fratello was he took these no-talent teams that had some outside shooting and found a way to slow the game down to make ourselves competitive against teams. Like, this is a team that had no business being in the playoffs, right? And it found a way in every year. And, it was overachieving because it played great defense and slowed the game down. It's not great for basketball long term, but you know what? We lost two of our best all-stars. You got to do what you got to do, and Cleveland fucking deserves a championship is what it does. And,
Now, this is nothing short of remarkable, right? Like, we came into the series anticipating a 80% Kyrie and got more than that in game one. My prediction then was still Cavs losing 5, and I was relatively confident about it. They've already beaten that without Kyrie, that they are hanging against this team, which had a historically great season.
Yeah.
Is that much more talented than them, has home court advantage, that they've won 2 games, that they are a couple inches, a centimeter, whatever, from being up 3-0 on this team is unbelievable and an amazing testament to LeBron and what he's doing. And all the detractors, fucking Skip Bayless would make the kill list if he wasn't already dead inside.
Mm-hmm.
And his constant going, I mean, he just goes after, that's his business, right? And I guess I'm playing into that. But what are you missing if you're not appreciating what LeBron's doing right now? This is nothing short of incredible. He's averaging 40, 12, and 9 and has this team where it is with the limitations that they have. Absolutely incredible.
It's something to point out he scored 40 points last night, and his series average dropped.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. Before we move on, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this style of play is what we have to do for a number of reasons. One, we don't have people that can create offense. It all has to go through LeBron. 2, we need to slow the game down and not we're going to lose a track meet by a lot to this team. So we have to slow the game down. Putting it in LeBron's hands minimizes turnovers. I know we're not running a bunch of stuff around him, but I think my sense is that's also strategic, right? Even very simple pick and rolls and stuff we're sort of avoiding because we do not want to turn the ball over because that's deadly against this team. It gives our players on offense a chance not to run around like crazy, but rest so that they can just go ballistic on defense. And it also makes a lot of the shots that we're shooting are not long threes that are going to allow for runouts, and the very controlled shots to the rim with the offensive rebounding that we have means the Warriors have to crash the boards on D and allows our defense to get back. It does Absolutely. A lot of stuff right now, and it's certainly inefficient and is at times ugly. But I think it is a pretty basic necessity for what we have to do given the other really startling and shocking and striking limitations that we have with this roster right now.
Yeah. That's the funny thing about like the David Lee reality is that that's their secret weapon, but I think the reason that Steve Kerr has been so reluctant to use it is that it slows them down. It slows down their mojo. If they have to use that is the great equalizer, right? If their key to breaking this thing open is to play David Lee serious minutes, right, to counteract our rebounding, that slows down their secret sauce. That slows down their formula for victory of fast break opportunities and open court shit because he's slow. It will counteract our advantage in rebounds, but it will fuck them up on defense and it will fuck them up on fast break opportunities. It's becoming it's really becoming a coach's game, which is fascinating to me. That you can have a guy like LeBron, who is one of those like Wilt Chamberlain-like figures, who can, that's right, Luna. That can become, you think a guy like that, you don't have to coach. We're so used to it with Mike Brown, who, God love him, was great at coaching defense, but couldn't coach a full game, couldn't coach the complete game. I got it, Luna. Okay. But that's what's happening right now. These two coaches are making adjustments within games, between games, in a marvelous way that's making this such an amazing finals right now. Currently, like the highest rated finals in history right now, Matt.
Yeah, no, they've been incredible games, and like we said this earlier, but the adjustments, the chess match, what's coming next is going to be just fascinating to watch.
What is this picture your brother sent us just now? Who is this? Look it up. Your brother sent us a picture in those old, like, electric blue Cleveland Cavaliers uniforms, the black and blue.
I'm guessing that's Steve Coulter.
Is that Steve Coulter? Number 5? Those socks, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, he just pointed out those socks. Those are high socks. That looks fresh. That's the kids say these days.
Those uniforms are so ugly.
I hate those uniforms more than life itself. Those are the worst uniforms that ever existed in the history of the organization. Before we move on from this and wrap things up, I wanted to get to Ned a little bit. Yeah, Steve Cotter. Steve Cotter is what John said. That Coulter, I think, is what he said before. Steve Cotter. That Cotter sounds more familiar, but I still really understand. Ned made some good points in texting us today. One of the more important things saying, per NBA Stats Twitter, LeBron drove to the basket 23 times last night. The highest league average this season was 11.9. As a reminder, Russell Westbrook played this season. And that continues. The dude is trying harder than is sustainable over anything more than a final series. And I think that's true. LeBron is driving the basket so much and getting hammered so much and getting called like never. It's like 4 times max a game, which to me is kind of crazy with how much he's getting space. Because the whole point is the way they're defending him is to give him fouls, frankly. They're just smart about the fact that they won't call it because of the playoffs. They're playing a one-on-one mostly, and they're doubling the last second, which is what leads to fouls. And I'm really shocked he's not getting more foul calls. It's crazy.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch as the series goes on. If that turns around at all or not for us, that'll be big.
All right, to wrap up here because we're crazy over time. We're definitely setting the record right now. Another thing that Ned said that I think leads to my next point is the comeback he thought for the Warriors last night was in due part to Cavs fatigue. Delly, tired to jump out in the pick and rolls. LBG was too tired to play offense. He's hoping 2 nights of no travel will give them enough energy to catch up. And what do you say? They need to give Shump what JFK got during the Bay of Pigs, which is awesome. I yes, I'm wholly in favor of that. Anyway, I think the most obvious thing going forward, Maddie, is the Memphis parallel, right? Memphis went up 2-1 in an identical fashion on the Warriors, and then just got. I mean, every single game. The next 3 games were just not even close. Just complete blowouts, right? How do we know that the Warriors aren't in the same situation? I'll let you start, and then I'll try to finish.
Sure. So the first thing that leapt to my mind when you brought this up was Tony Allen got hurt between Game 3 and Game 4, right? He was not. I think he played a little bit in that Game 6, but he was not close to himself and was not really a factor.
Also, Mike
Conley hurt them.
But yeah.
Well, Mike Conley was hurt going into the series. He actually got healthy. I mean, he was never 100% healthy, but he played the rest of the series.
Didn't Draymond Green break his face?
No, he actually broke his face at the end of the. I can't remember who they played in the first round. The Trailblazers.
Blazers, yeah, no, the Blazers, who I love and respect.
Yeah, he broke his face in that series, so he missed the first game of the Warriors series, which the Warriors won, and then came back for the rest of it. But they lost Allen, which really messed with their defense. So Shump is supposed to play tomorrow, so hopefully that does not happen to us.
What's the
besides that?
Wait a minute, Matt, hold on. So Shump got an MRI today, right?
Yeah, he's fine. It's a contusion. I mean, he's not fine. Shoulders
clear. I mean, yeah, shoulder's fucked up, but whatever. It's not a shooting shoulder. He can play, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
And let's hope he doesn't get fucked up again. Continue. Go ahead.
So beyond that, I think the parallels are very apt, and it terrifies me because I still think this Golden State team is really good. And while we've done it, that saying once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, three times is a pattern. It's a pattern now with how we've been able to do their defense.
Yeah, three games.
I'm very scared that they'll be able to bust out.
Yes.
I still expect them to blow us out again in this series. It could happen as soon as tomorrow night. I'm hoping that we can hang on tomorrow because I think they're going to crush us back here in Game 5 potentially.
Yep.
But in my opinion, it absolutely could happen, and it feels like momentum is on the Cavs side right now. But we know how quickly that can change. There's no real such thing as momentum in a series like this. They're separate games.
Yep.
And the Warriors could very easily storm back and start blowing us out.
This is the real counterpoint to our friend Dave Deming's point about Game 3 is how the crucial. According to Deming, we've won the series already, right? Dave, you've basically said that we've won the series. Whether you really think that or not is a different story. But you basically said that Game 3 was our Game 7. I hope you're right, and I will be very nice to you for the rest of your life if you're right about this. But yeah, I didn't think Game 3 was our Game 7. I disagree with that assessment. You kind of agree with him a little bit in a backhanded way. Except that, the point being it's not over. Game 3 is crucial. It's clearly a crucial game. Like we couldn't. I think you're right in the sense that we couldn't possibly win unless we won Game 3, or this would have made it so much harder. But as you said, it's game to game. Each game creates its own momentum going to the next game, and frankly, Golden State, while losing this game, has the momentum going into the next game because of how well they played in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, here are some other things I would say about the differences and the parallels between the Memphis series and the Cavs series. And this is the biggest thing. I sort of promoted this in the tweet because I think this is the most important. I don't know. To me, it's the real key thing. Here's what happened in the Memphis series, right? Tony Allen was the guy that was really fucking up Golden State. Then he got hurt. But even when he came back, and honestly, even before he left or whatever, Golden State, the reason why I saw this, sorry, take a step back. Twitter, I forget who said this, maybe it was Haberstroh, somebody like that, was saying how Golden State was so cocky and relaxed after they went down 2-1, right? Mm-hmm. They were just laughing, having fun, blasting music, just not even worried in the least. Not at all the picture after Game 3 in the finals. They were fucking upset and worried and downtrodden downtrodden, despondent, all that shit. So I don't know what that means, except that I feel like they got confident because they realized, oh, Tony Allen is our kryptonite? Great. We can play 5-on-4 the rest of the series because we don't have to worry about Tony Allen hitting a fucking shot because he's like the worst shooter in the world and can't do anything. Delly is the same guy as Tony Allen in that scenario. Big difference? Hits 40% for the season from three-point land. You can't leave him wide open. And he burned them last night. I hope he keeps burning them throughout the series. I'd rather keep doing that than doing anything else, just hitting three-pointers. The point is that Delly actually is more dangerous offensively than Tony Allen, which is fucking crazy, first of all. But that's a big, big, big fucking difference, one. Two, we have LeBron. That's also a big difference. Three.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah, just by itself. Three, Memphis' biggest problem, as Matt Moore of CBS Sports points out, and he's a big Memphis guy. That's his like avatar, is the Memphis Grizzlies guy. His big point is like he loves how Grizzlies play. He loves their defense, but they can't shoot threes. They just don't have 3-point shooters. They just really don't. If Conley, that's it. We have a shit ton of guys who can hit threes. Mike Miller, James Jones, Shumpert even to an extent. Obviously, J.R. Smith, Dellavedova can. LeBron even can in certain instances. You know, we lost two of our biggest in Kyrie and Love, but we still have a ton of guys who can shoot threes. That changes the formula against Golden State. So I think the Memphis 2-1 lead is very instructive. You know, how we handle David Lee is really important. But I think there's a big difference in how we can attack this team than how Memphis can, because we actually have more weapons, even though we have less weapons, if that makes sense. We have more three-point weapons. We have more important weapons than Memphis had. I think we're better matched up against Golden State than Memphis was. And that might give us, you know, with LeBron, a real chance at this thing.
Yeah. So here's how I'm thinking about it a little, Pat. We need 2 more wins, 2 of the next 4. I am in sort of I should preface all this by saying I'm in the worst spot of all, which is that I've started to believe and think that we can really do this, which is just terrifying.
It's the worst possible thing that can happen to you, Matt, and to me. I'm a fucking mess and a disaster of a human being.
It's bad. So I'm there. So in my hopes and my fantasies right now, there is a game that I talked about earlier. LeBron is outrageous, is what he's doing so far, has been, that he has another year and just does something truly, truly unheard of. And he scores 6, like, I don't know what it would be, like a 60, 15, and 8 game or something like that. It's just blows people away and just wins a game by itself. And that we have another game where one of our other guys steps up. JR is the guy I'm hoping for that can go Nova at a moment's notice and put up a 25 or 30 point game on his own. I'm hoping that those 2 things happen. That's how I see us. That is very non-analytic or non-scheme or anything, but like on a very simple level, we need our offense to come from someplace in 2 of the wins that we get, and I could see us getting that. Shumpert also has done nearly nothing on offense in this series and has shown previously that he's capable of giving us a little bit more than that. So I would not rule out him it's possible for him to put up 18 to 22 points in a game and be sort of that second man. Delly stepped up last time. I don't know that we can count on him for 20 points.
No.
Again, ever in his life, maybe?
We definitely can't. Not ever in his life. He's done it before. Ish, you know, in the teens, high teens. But yeah, no. I 100% agree with you. And the funny thing is, a couple times, everyone, when Smith, when Smith hits a shot, you know, Twitter, sports Twitter, basketball Twitter explodes with could this be the Shump game? Fuck, I keep doing this. I keep doing this, Matt. I'm sorry, the Smith game, the J.R. Smith game, where he goes golf and goes just nuts, right? And it hasn't really happened yet. He got, hot for a little stretch once, last game, not really any previous games.
No, we need a game where he goes like 7 for 11 from 3-point range.
Yeah, exactly. We need one of those like Atlanta series games. If we get that, holy shit, yeah, we might be able to really pull this off. And that's the big thing that's exciting about this team.
The other thing that's crazy about what I just said is everything beyond LeBron switching into next year is premised on him holding this baseline of 40, 12, and 9 or 10 a
Holy
game.
shit.
Like I'm just banking on him doing that and that not being a really great performance from him, which is absurd. Absolutely
fucking absurd. That is a new word I've invented, Matt. Fucking absurd.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Holy shit.
Pat, slightly unrelated, but I have one thing I read today that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which I'm guessing you did too, because I referenced the piece earlier. So it was the Ethan Sherwood Strauss piece on ESPN.
Yeah.
In talking about how weird it is and the position that Golden State is in right now, and how different this felt from how they felt before. He talked about that, and he said it's so weird to see the team that was loose and playing easy together feel this way, and the team that doesn't really get along. And then he had a parenthetical about how noticeable it was to see Dellavedova being the only player to return a hug from Blatt on the bench while everybody else snubbed him during the game. So one, I didn't really notice that happening.
No.
Possible that I missed it for sure. But two, are we really still riding this train, people?
This is ridiculous. I mean...
Or the alternative is Blatt really is sort of an asshole and difficult to get along with, and this is why he burns through teams and can't stay places very long. And he's doing good scheming and allowing Tyronn Lue to do what he does as a defensive coordinator, et cetera, et cetera. But he really is sort of an asshole and difficult to get along with, and that's demonstrated in little moments like that. That's possible, I guess.
It's certainly possible. I did see that, and I kind of glossed over because I just think it's ridiculous, and it's kind of embarrassing that Strauss, who's a good reporter, would throw that shade, I guess is the only way to put it. The more I see Blatt in kind of real scenarios, I don't get that. I don't see that kind of dickersness. I see it mostly in response to the press than I do to
his players.
Frankly, anything else? Yeah, exactly. And shit, it's funny. I thought I had posted in my article here a great piece. There's a great piece by Chris Haynes, and I've missed it. It's killing me because I can't find it right now, and I'm not going to make you guys wait for it. But there's a great Chris Haynes article about Matthew Dellavedova that includes a amazing interview with David Blatt. Actually, I think I may have found it here. Hold on, I'll pull this up. A great interview with David Blatt about Matthew Dellavedova that I think gets across the kind of guy that Blatt is, in a way that I don't really believe the players don't buy into it and are into it. Like, now, at the same time, not Chris Grant. It's embarrassing. Who's our GM, Matt? I'm
David Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin, who I fucking love. Griffin, has been going out of his way to credit Tyronn Lue with our amazing defensive performance, which is the triumph of the season. Anyway, Chris Haynes early in the season, wrote a piece accusing Blatt of overusing Dellavedova and speculating that he just likely sees himself in the Australian. Apparently, Blatt remembered that story and graciously invited Chris Haynes into his office for an exclusive interview after the Game 3 victory. I'm going to quote from his article here. "We sat on his sofa, and that's when, as the young folks would say, he went in. And you were full of shit, Blatt said in hilarious fashion, referring to that article. I've been waiting to tell you that for a long time. His childhood friend from Boston was in the office as well and couldn't hold it together, bursting out in laughter. Chris is a man. He can take it, Blatt said with a smile. And basically, Chris is a real good guy. But sometimes, like other writers, when the sun sets, they turn into an asshole. This is what Blatt said. I fucking love this guy. I feel like if I knew this guy in real life, I would actually fucking love him. Probably hate his politics. Probably get into huge arguments about politics. But like him as a human being. And I feel like, in the trenches of a fight like this, that's the fucking guy you want. The kind of guy that you would hate in politics and would, fight to the death in a political battle. But in a basketball battle, you would go to fucking war with. Because he's got your goddamn back. He's got the back of Tyronn Lue. He's got the back of every guy. He gives credit to everyone, takes responsibility for failures. This is a guy that, while cocky and dickish and arrogant to reporters, is the kind of guy that, stands up for the guys that matter. And, his team. So
I think that's probably the best read, Pat, is that the media does not like him and doesn't get around with him because he's churlish with them and he doesn't care.
Yeah. This piece, read this piece. I will try to at some point tomorrow. I'll try to poist this. Poist. I am setting new records in mispronunciations. It goes with the copious amounts of booze I drink during the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I will try to poist to this podcast a link to that article. It is a fantastic piece. Chris Haynes is a super interesting and fun sports journalist because I feel like it wasn't Chris Haynes the one who wrote the Tristan Thompson's value to the Cavaliers is incalculable article.
I think that's
season. Right. And, it sounded really dumb at the time, right? It sounds super smart now. And I'm not going to give him super credit for that because it was kind of dumb at the time. but he's a really fun, interesting, smart, bold sports writer. And generally speaking, I find something useful in all of his pieces, even if there's some hyperbole in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I really highly recommend reading Chris Haynes in the Cleveland.com Northeast Ohio Media Group, whatever this newspaper is called now. Go ahead.
What's interesting to think about a little for me is this: whatever happens in this series, the Cavs defense is going to get some acclamation, right? Like even if we get blown out the next three games.
Yeah, even if we lose next 3 games, we're going to get respect.
And the guy who's going to get a lot of respect from that is Tyronn Lue. It is, I'm pretty sure, too late for him to get in on any head coaching gigs next year, right? Like the Denver job's going to get filled. Orlando's filled. I can't remember who else, what other jobs are. I feel like there's one I'm blanking on right now that's open, but most of the jobs are not going to be available for him then, which means we get to hang on to him for another year. He's certainly not going to go be an assistant coach somewhere with what we're paying him. But he's going to start to attract attention. You saw Alvin Gentry get poached from the Warriors for the New Orleans job.
What is this?
What are you talking about, Pat?
This is Matt. That was amazing. What was that? Was that you?
No.
Did you hear any of that?
I heard something happening. I don't know what you're talking about, though. I was blathering on about Tyronn Lue.
I heard something ridiculous that may have been something on my browser playing, but because I'm wearing headphones right now, I thought it was playing in our podcast, and I can't wait to find out if it actually recorded because it sounded hilarious. Sorry, Matt, finish what you're saying because I think we've exhausted any usefulness, or at least I have. I'm probably a waste of time right now, but finish what you're saying because I didn't hear the last 15 seconds of what you're saying.
My point was just Tyronn Lue's going to get a lot of attention after this series no matter what happens. We got him locked up for another year. That's a nice thing to think about and keep in our back.
That's fucking,
no matter what.
That's fucking amazing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
look, we can worry about that later. Depending on what happens in the rest of the series. But that is such an encouraging thing. Absolutely. And knowing how well these two coaches seem to get together, and knowing how much David Blatt stands up for Tyronn Lue, is really fucking encouraging. Beyond next year, who knows? But still, that's great for next year. But you know what? Fuck it, Matt. As Nike says, as Nike said in that full page, black ad that my dad told me about, full page in the Plain Dealer yesterday, just full black Nike ad saying, what is it? Oh fuck, I'm gonna blow it, but
you blew it already.
I've already blown it. It's too late.
It's blown.
It's blown. But maybe this this year. Did I get it right? Maybe.
Waiting for this year?
No. Like maybe there's this year. Like it's this year. Not wait till this year, but like it's this year. Fuck! I did blow it. There it is. There's always this year. That's what it was. There's always this year.
Yes.
And that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome they did that. There's no need to do that. And it just said there's always this year. It was a great playoff, the waiting for next year blog, which is a fantastic Cleveland sports blog. But, that's how we're all feeling right now. And, maybe there is always this year. We'll see. It feels
It's the
unnatural.
scariest notion of all, Pat.
It's the scariest notion of all. It feels unnatural as a Cavs fan to feel that way. John's asking me if I'm 2 or 3 times the legal limit right now. I'm probably closer to 3. I'm also just incredibly tired because I've had like 5 hours of sleep every single night this entire week. Either it's the podcast that keeps me up really late at night, or the Cavs game keep me up really late at night. And Ned, I love you. I'm gonna stay up a little bit later tonight just to make sure that these podcasts get out to you, so you can listen to it on the ride to work tomorrow. So that's another reason why I'm going to be not at high functioning capacity tomorrow night either. So,
well, we better wrap it up then, Patty.
Holy shit! Yes, we should. Yes, this is we're closing on 2 hours probably. I don't know what our combined podcast time is, but this is probably.
I think we blew through 2 hours.
No, well, we blew through 2 hours. I think. Oh fuck yeah, you're right. Not even close. We're definitely through 2 hours combined. This is a ridiculous podcast. I apologize to all of our viewers, except the ones that enjoyed it. Maddie,
probably our listeners too.
Yeah. What did I just say?
Viewers.
I said viewers.
It's just a podcast.
Well, there are some people on YouTube that look at our I guess avatars. So there's some.
Patty, let's get you to bed, buddy.
Yeah. Let's just go to bed.
You've had a big night, buddy.
Oh my
Let's
god!
Get you to bed.
I gotta go to work. Holy shit! All right. I'm excited. I'm terrified. I'm horrified. I don't know what to think. I'm gonna be in a puddle tomorrow night. I don't know where you're gonna be, Maddie, but I'm excited. Are you gonna go to a bar tomorrow night? Or are you gonna watch it at home?
No, I think I'm isolating myself at home. It's too intense.
I don't know. I might go out to a bar again. I don't know. I can't. I haven't decided yet. It's gonna be exciting though. Either way.
Good luck.
Good. Yeah. I don't know what to do. All right. Let's just end this right now. I love you, Maddie. Go Cavs.
You too, buddy.
Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later this weekend. Until next time, Maddie. For
Patty.
Friendship.
Ooh, that's good.
Not so bad. Pretty good. All right. See you tomorrow, buddy.
Get some rest, buddy. Talk to you soon. Go Cavs.
Bye. Go Cavs.